Our first guest tonight is a journalist you know from Showtime's The Circus, CBS Saturday Morning, and The Mole. She is the host of Alex Wagner Tonight, which airs Tuesdays through Fridays on MSNBC. Please welcome to the show, Alex Wagner, everybody. It's so nice to have you here.
It was so nice to take the elevator up a few floors.
It's lovely to have you back in the building. You're hosting the 9 p.m. hour on MSNBC, Tuesdays to Fridays. One of the really exciting things about it is you're the only Asian American hosting a cable primetime show. Is that something that is both, I don't know, is it humbling? Is it frustrating that it's true?
Yes, it is both of those things. It's absolutely humbling to be representing a huge diaspora that is definitely not all within me. I mean, Asian Americans are wildly diverse. I'm so proud to be a Burmese American. I'm so proud to have the heritage that I do, and I try and do my best to, represent that part of the world on our show. But it's insane that in the year 2023, I'm the only Asian American primetime cable news host. That should not be. We have a lot of work
hopefully
to do.
you're the first of many. Hopefully this is the beginning of something. But I also want to ask, you've hosted a show before, but this is a big one. It must make it a little bit easier because you have a great many friends over at MSNBC.
I do.
Including, you threw up a tweet of you and Chris Hayes. And so you and Chris have known each other 25 years?
Oh my God, and we're only 27.
That's so weird.
Yeah, from a very young age. We've known each other since Acne days. That's
really?
How long...
you saw Chris Hayes with acne?
I'm not saying whose acne it was. I'm just saying that's how long our hormones were in a different place, and now they're going into another place. But yeah, we've known each other since college, and I remember he's a year younger than me, and when he got into our college, Brown, I remember the upperclassmen were like, Chris Hayes is coming to Brown, and I was like, who is this Chris Hayes? And now I know what the fuss was about.
Chris Hayes was so cool, people at college knew him
cool?
before he got there?
Let's say, is it coolness? I don't know. Notoriety. I'm just going to say notoriety. I can say that as someone who loves him deeply and has known him a very long time.
You received some advice, and I received the same thing when I started this show. And again, you've had your own show before, so I know it's a little bit different, but how long it takes to be comfortable behind a desk of your own show. I know you've just started this, but do you feel like you're there yet? And what is the date you have on the calendar for where you want to be comfortable?
It's March of 2079 when I'm going to start feeling comfortable, Seth. I think I'm very forgiving. I don't know if everybody else is. I'm very forgiving with myself as a host. I'm like, it's an evolution. I messed up the teleprompter. I got the facts. No, I don't. We try not to get the facts wrong.
Yeah. I'm making it up.
Just go with it. I think stepping into the 9 p.m. slot on MSNBC, previously occupied Monday through Friday by the great Rachel Maddow, is a huge honor, and no one can replicate what she does. And I think we wanted to figure out what the DNA of our show is, and that just takes some time. We've tried some stuff that's worked, we've tried some stuff that hasn't, and I think, luckily our audience seems to be with us. People are forgiving, people are excited to see, the plane being built on the runway, and I'm just thrilled that I'm still on the air 6 months later.
Well, I feel the same way. One of the things you've addressed, which I want to ask you about, because obviously the Republicans are coming off, a sort of underwhelming midterm, but it does seem like they're still sticking with this culture war message. And one of the people you see using that as a tool more often than others is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
You've been covering the way he's been approaching sort of politics via education. Could you speak to some of the steps he's taking and maybe why we should be afraid of those?
I mean, you should be afraid of anything that systematically tries to disenfranchise people and whitewash history, which is exactly what's happening down in Florida. We should care about it not just because it's Florida, but also because Ron DeSantis may end up being the Republican nominee for president in 2024. But basically what he's done is this kind of Orwellian plot to censor what is being taught in the classrooms through the passage of various legislation, book bans and book approvals. I mean, I was talking to a teacher in Manatee County this week. They've literally had to paper over their school libraries and classrooms because the books haven't all been approved to these state-set standards. I mean, kids can't read books in classrooms because teachers are so scared they could get slapped with a felony for running afoul of these new standards. Ron DeSantis has said, I'm not going to approve an AP course on African American studies in the state of Florida because so far I've seen no evidence that it has any educational value. I mean, this is the way we re-indoctrinate people to a sort of white Christian nationalist agenda, which is very much at the heart of the Republican sort of platform, if you will, right now. And Ron DeSantis has been insanely effective in passing this legislation, creating a climate of fear, and ultimately undermining a lot of the social and cultural progress that this country has seen in the last 15 and 20 years. So, I mean, I think we should all be paying attention to it. I've gone down to Florida. I've talked to teachers and students. It's part of the field work that I think is essential to being a journalist. I'm surprised I'm still allowed to enter the state of Florida at this point. I hope you're not watching Governor DeSantis.
I don't think he is.
I mean, you know, he's trying to... Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But
I like the monologue, but that's it.
And then I turn it on. You know, he's trying to take the one, like there's the one school, New College down in Florida, that's the bastion of sort of progressive thought. He's trying to stack the board of trustees at that college to basically reverse the curriculum that they have there. I mean, everything he can do to censor, marginalize, whitewash, and otherwise create a culture of intimidation around those who want to tell the truth about this country and our systemic injustices. I mean, he's doing it, and he's doing it with ruthless efficacy. And now you have other states that are looking at Ron DeSantis and saying, maybe we should do that too. South Carolina is looking at some of the same legislation that they've passed in Florida. This is the new agenda of the right. If you can't win fair, win using any anti-democratic means necessary.
I think this is less important what I'm going to ask about, because obviously the outcome is the most important, and you do have teachers who are scared, and you do have books that are banned. Do you think, and I know it's kind of impossible to know, that Ron DeSantis came at this because he was afraid of kids reading books, or he came at this because he wanted to be the guy who could stand up at a debate and say, I'm the guy who banned books?
This is all political calculus. This is, I mean, Ron DeSantis, if he could, the license plate for Florida would say, this is where woke goes to die. That's all he says about his state. That's like that's the motto for the state of Florida. He knows it plays well with people on the right who want a culture war. And so far, I mean, he won handily in the last gubernatorial race. It's worked for him. The question is whether the extreme policies that he's pursued in the state of Florida work well on the national stage if, in fact, he does run for president against Donald Trump, which is a cage match I don't know if I'm, like, physically, mentally prepared for.
Yeah. I don't think Ron DeSantis is either.
that may be true, Seth.
I think from a distance, you're like, I can take off Donald Trump, and then you get on a stage
close.
and you're like, oh, man,
Maybe
I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
You have a big fan, actually backstage. Our next guest, Bowen Yang, sings your praises, independent of you being on tonight. He is a huge fan of yours.
It's a mutual admiration society.
Yeah, because you hosted the reboot of the show, The Mole.
Yes, as one does.
Yeah, this was a show that's always been in the hands of journalists. Anderson Cooper did it back in the day, and now you're doing it. And was that a fun show to do?
It was not like covering the insurrection at the Capitol.
Yeah.
It was, it dawned on me that some people in TV have fun. It's not that my job isn't fun, but it's incredibly serious.
Yes.
And it's a lot of traumatic material to absorb every day. And I thought, this could be really a fun experience doing this crazy reboot that at its core is a question of trust, which, I will say there's a through line between that and what we do in terms of political coverage. The central conceit in American life today is who do you trust? Who can you trust? Who's really being honest here? And that's the game in The Mole. So I thought, okay, I can create a reason why it makes sense for me to do this and go to Australia for 10 weeks.
Well, I'm very glad you got that trip, no matter how you justified it to yourself. Hey,
good eye.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate
Seth.
it. Alex Wagner. Alex Wagner tonight airs Tuesdays through Fridays at 9 p.m. on MSNBC. We'll be right back with Bowen Yang.